1 microfarad is the same as A 1/1,000,000th of a picofarad, B 1000 millifarads, C 1,000,000 picofarads, D 1,000,000 farads. The correct answer is 1,000,000 picofarads. Which one of the following statements is true for resistance in a parallel circuit? A. The total resistance is equal to the sum of the individual resistances in a parallel circuit. B. The total resistance of a parallel circuit is always less than the value of the smallest resistance. C. The total resistance of a parallel circuit is equal to the total voltage. D. The total resistance in a parallel circuit is equal to the average value of the individual resistances. The correct answer is the total resistance of a parallel circuit is always less than the value of the smallest resistance. The direction of conventional current flow is A. From negative to positive, B. From positive to negative, C. From left to right, D. From neutral to positive. The correct answer is from positive to negative. Doubling the operating frequency of a purely inductive circuit. A. Doubles the amount of current through the inductors. B. Has no effect on the current through the inductors. C. Cuts the current through the inductors 1/2. D. Increases the current but by an amount that can be determined only by doing a complete analysis of the circuit. The correct answer is cuts the current through the inductors 1/2. The secondary voltage for a certain power transformer is twice the voltage applied to the primary. The current flowing in the secondary winding will be A. 1/2 the primary current, B. Same as the primary current, C. Twice the primary current, D. No more than 10 less than the primary current. The correct answer is 1/2 the primary current. What is a free electron? A. An electron that has been freed from its parent atom. B. An electron that costs nothing. C. An electron that has no electrical charge. D. An electron that has twice the amount of charge of a normal electron. The correct answer is an electron that has been freed from its parent atom. To get the Norton current you have to A. Short the load resistor, B. Open the load resistor, C. Short the voltage source, D. Open the voltage source. The correct answer is short the voltage source. The barrier potential across each depletion layer is A. 0, B. 0.8 V, C. 0.7 V, D. 20 V. The correct answer is 0.7 V. Which one of the following properties of a magnetic circuit can be directly compared to voltage in an electrical circuit? A. Flux density, B. Number of lines of force, C. Magnetomotive force, D. Reluctance. The correct answer is magnetomotive force. What kind of battery is most likely included in a cordless electric knife? A. Zinc carbon battery, B. Mercury cell battery, C. Nickel battery, D. Lead acid battery. The correct answer is mercury cell battery. The basic unit of measurement for resistance is the A. Volt, B. Ampere, C. Ohm, D. Watt. The correct answer is ohm. What is the phase shift between total current and voltage if 100 ohm resistor connected in parallel with an inductor that has a reactance of 200 watts? A. 0 degree, B. 26.6 degree, C. 90 degree, D. 180 degree. The correct answer is 26.6 degree. When operating below its resonant frequency, a series RLC circuit has the characteristics of A series RL circuit, B series RC circuit, C series RLC circuit operated above its resonant frequency, D purely resistive circuit. The correct answer is series RC circuit. The valence electron of a copper atom experiences what kind of attraction toward the nucleus? A. Strong. B. Neutral. C. Weak. D. Impossible to say. The correct answer is weak. Suppose a step-down transformer has a turns ration of 5:1. If the secondary current is 1 RMS, what is the primary current? A. 0.3 A. B. 0.2 A. C. 0.4 A. D. 0.6 A. The correct answer is 0.2 A. Absolute zero temperature equals A. 0 OC. B. 273 OC. C. 276 OC. D. 25 OC. The correct answer is 273 OC. At cutoff, the Q point is at A. Upper end of the load line. B. Middle of the load line. C. Lower end of the load line. D. Infinity. The correct answer is lower end of the load line. The south pole of a magnet is the one A. that would be attracted to the Earth's north magnetic pole. B. that has its molecules arranged in a random pattern. C. that would be attracted to the Earth's south magnetic pole. D. that would be repelled by the north pole of another magnet. The correct answer is that would be attracted to the Earth's south magnetic pole. Which one of the following statements is true? A. Capacitive reactance is at a minimum for DC source voltages. B. Capacitive reactance decreases as the operating frequency increases. C. There is no meaningful relationship between capacitive reactance and operating frequency. D. Capacitive reactance increases as the operating frequency increases. The correct answer is capacitive reactance decreases as the operating frequency increases. The peak value of a sine waveform is A. the amplitude at 70.7 of the maximum value. B. the amplitude at 90 of the maximum value. C. the amplitude at 1.41 times the maximum value. D. the maximum positive or negative value. The correct answer is the maximum positive or negative value. Which one of the following statements is true for voltage in a parallel circuit? A. the total voltage in a parallel circuit is equal to the average value of the individual voltages. B. the total voltage in a parallel circuit is always less than the value of the smallest voltage. C. the total voltage is equal to the sum of the voltages across the individual branches in a parallel circuit. D. the total voltage of a parallel circuit is the same as the voltages across each branch. The correct answer is the total voltage of a parallel circuit is the same as the voltages across each branch. The dielectric constant of a material is a measure of A. the amount of voltage it can withstand before breaking down. B. how well the material concentrates electrostatic lines of force. C. the amount of opposition to the current flow. D. how well the material concentrates magnetic lines of force. The correct answer is how well the material concentrates electrostatic lines of force. What is the inductive reactance of a 2H coil operating at 60 Hz? A. 754 ohm. B. 30 ohm. C. 60 ohm. D. 120 ohm. The correct answer is 754 ohm. When operating above its resonant frequency, a series RLC circuit has the characteristics of A series RL circuit, B series RC circuit, C series RLC circuit operated below its resonant frequency, D purely resistive circuit. The correct answer is series RL circuit. What is the primary difference between primary and secondary cell batteries? A. Primary cell batteries can be recharged and used many times, whereas secondary cell batteries cannot be properly recharged. B. Secondary cell batteries can be recharged and used many times, whereas primary cell batteries cannot be properly recharged. C. Primary cell batteries use chemical cells, whereas secondary cell batteries use an alternative energy source such as thermal or magnetic energy to supplement their outputs. D. Primary cell batteries must be recharged at a much slower rate than secondary cell batteries. The correct answer is secondary cell batteries can be recharged and used many times, whereas primary cell batteries cannot be properly recharged. Which one of the following statements applies to common auto batteries? A. Auto batteries are primary wet cell batteries. B. Auto batteries are secondary wet cell batteries. C. Auto batteries are secondary dry cell batteries. D. Auto batteries are primary dry cell batteries. The correct answer is auto batteries are secondary wet cell batteries. Which one of the following equations most directly determines the power dissipation of a resistance when you know the power dissipation of a resistance when you know the voltage drop and current? A. Pi. B. Pe2R. C. Pi2R. D. Ipe. The correct answer is Pi. If N1 N22 and the primary voltage is 120 V, what is the secondary voltage? A. 0 V. B. 36 V. C. 40 V. D. 60 V. The correct answer is 60 V. A device that converts light energy to electrical energy is called A. Thermocouple. B. Solar cell. C. Photodiode. D. Phototransistor. The correct answer is solar cell. How much current flows through a 60 watts light bulb that is operating at 120 V? A. 0.5 A. B. 180 A. C. 2 A. D. 7200 A. The correct answer is 0.5 A. What is the power dissipation of a resistance that has 24 V dropped across it and 0.25 A flowing through it? A. 3 watts. B. 6 watts. C. 64 watts. D. 122 watts. The correct answer is 6 watts. Which one of the following kinds of materials has the highest permeability? A. Diamagnetic material. B. A ferromagnetic material. C. A paramagnetic material. D. All of the above. The correct answer is a ferromagnetic material. Inductive reactance is measured in units of A. Volts per second. B. Amperes per second. C. Ohm. D. Henries. The correct answer is ohm. What is the difference between the kinds of charges for an electron and a proton? An electron has a positive charge and a proton has no charge. B. An electron has a positive charge and a proton has a negative charge. C. An electron has a negative charge and a proton has a positive charge. D. An electron has a negative charge and a proton has no charge. The correct answer is an electron has a negative charge and a proton has a positive charge. An ideal voltage source has A. Zero internal resistance. B. Infinite internal resistance. C. A load-dependent voltage. D. A load-dependent current. The correct answer is zero internal resistance. A transistor has how many doped regions? A1, B2, C3, D4. The correct answer is 3. The voltage across a 1N4001 is 0.93 V when the current is 1 A. What is the power dissipation of the diode for these values? A. 0.93 watts. B. 0.93 V. C. 1 A. D 9.3 watts. The correct answer is 0.93 watts. A loadstone is A natural magnet, B a temporary magnet, C an artificial magnet, D a paramagnetic alloy. The correct answer is a natural magnet. Which one of the following phrases most accurately describes a purely capacitive circuit? A. Resistances provide the only opposition to current flow. B. Capacitive reactance provides the only opposition to current flow. C. The AC voltage leads the current by 90 degrees. D. Combinations of resistance and capacitive reactance provide any opposition to current flow. The correct answer is capacitive reactance provides the only opposition to current flow. The saturation point is approximately the same as A. Cutoff point, B. Lower end of the load line, C. Upper end of the load line, D. Infinity. The correct answer is upper end of the load line. Which one of the following statements is true for the currents in a series RC circuit? A. The current always has the same amplitude and phase for every part of the circuit. B. The total current is equal to the sum of the currents for the resistance and capacitance. C. The total current is greater than the sum of the currents for the resistance and capacitance. D. The total current is less than the sum of the currents for the resistance and capacitance. The correct answer is the current always has the same amplitude and phase for every part of the circuit. The total inductance of a series inductor circuit is A. Equal to the sum of the individual inductance values, B. Equal to the sum of the individual inductive reactance values, C. Less than the value of the smallest inductor, D. Equal to the source voltage divided by total current. The correct answer is equal to the sum of the individual inductance values. Determine the resistance value and tolerance of a resistor that has the following color bands. First band is red, second band is red, third band is orange, and the fourth band is gold. A. 220 ohm 5, B. 220 ohm 10, C. 22,000 ohm 5, D. 22,000 ohm 10. The correct answer is 22,000 ohm 5. Which one of the following is most likely used for measuring the rate of electron flow? A. Voltmeter, B. Ammeter, C. Wattmeter, D. Ohmmeter. The correct answer is ammeter. Suppose a voltage source has an ideal voltage of 15 V and a source resistance of 0.2 watts. For what values of load resistance will the voltage source appear stiff? A. 20 ohm, B. 30 ohm, C. 10 ohm, D. 100 ohm. The correct answer is 20 ohm. Which one of the following statements regarding AC circuits is correct? A. Current and voltages are in phase through a resistor. B. Current leads the voltage through a resistor. C. Current lags the voltage through a resistor. D. All of the above. The correct answer is current and voltages are in phase through a resistor. Which one of the following statements most accurately describes the nature of inductive reactance? A. Inductive reactance is an opposition to current flow in DC circuits. B. Inductive reactance is an opposition to current flow in AC circuits. C. Inductive reactance is another term for counter-EMF. D. Inductive reactance is a force that tends to overcome the effects of counter-EMF. The correct answer is inductive reactance is an opposition to current flow in AC circuits. What are the main parts of an atom? A. Protons only, B. Electrons, protons and ions, C. Electrons, ions and neutrons, D. Electrons, protons and neutrons. The correct answer is Electrons, protons and neutrons. Current is A. The flow of charged particles through a material. B. An imbalance of electrical charges. C. The force that causes electrons to flow. D. The number of free electrons in an atom. The correct answer is the flow of charged particles through a material. A real voltage source has A. Zero internal resistance. B. Infinite internal resistance. C. A small internal resistance. D. A large internal resistance. The correct answer is A small internal resistance.